Welcome back, YouTube, to the Metal Discourse. My name is Martin, and this is my co-host Ryan here. Today, we are bringing you another album review. Today, we are taking a listen at the newest EP released by one of our favorite bands, Currents. This EP is titled All That Follows, and it was released on Halloween 2025.
All right, song number one, It Only Gets Darker. What are your thoughts on this initially?
I think the guitar tones, the punchiness, it's pretty damn good in my opinion, honestly. I think the song sets a really good expectation for what you're about to listen to for the next 19 minutes, man. Brian's vocals, they just sound just so like menacing and like evil in this track. Just like the way he incorporates so many different vocal stylings, it's just different than what I've heard in the past, and it's really refreshing. I think it's pretty sick, man. Good way to start off the Currents EP.
Yeah, I agree. I really love the style of the screaming and the different rhythms you hear. Makes it a little unique. And then we get it's a short but pretty memorable chorus, I think. And right here after this first chorus is when you get a really good example of the different vocal styling that you were talking about here. It's really encapsulating because of how different it sounds.
Yo, can I just like cut in here and say, not even in the notes, literally here live doing this, I just caught a little synth there in the background of what just played, and that is fire, dude. Super, super subtle, but that little synth is amazing.
Wow, brand new find live in the middle of the video. I did hear it. It's kind of I think it's a piano style VST from what I can tell. And then a little after that, we get a really interesting guitar riff that comes in.
So yeah, man, that riff in particular just reminds me so much of The Arms of Sorrow from Killswitch Engage from way back in the day. They had that like really cool chuggy riff and the weird rhythm, and I just, man, it just pulls on this nostalgia strings for me, man.
Yeah. One thing I really like too is the transition from this part to the very next part. It changes the momentum of the song. The drum pattern changes. Right now it was kind of it was following the guitar. You were getting the snare, and I think the kick were just hitting when the guitar would go, following that pattern. Well, it switches to just a 1, 2, 3, 4 style drum pattern. And it's really smooth. Then we get this part, just a little after that, where it gets real dark. After this, another really awesome transition that gets us out of this crazy doom section into the last chorus, but in between that you get this one section that blends that whole section beautifully. The way it transitions from one piece to the other with that little bridge section. It's beautiful.
Definitely, man. I also want to just point out there that vocally, just how melodic all his screams sound in that part there. And then when you add the guitar fills over the top of it, it just just carries such an awesome melody that is just memorable. It's pretty badass, brother.
Yeah, definitely. And then with the last chorus, we get it doubling, so it's twice as long as the first one. And then the second half of that last chorus, you get the halftime on the drums to kind of change things up, which leads us out of the chorus into the final section of the song. Also, just want to point out the harmonizing on the vocals there in that final part. We didn't make note of that. Something I've always noticed, and I just wanted to point that out. And then we get this filthy guitar that takes us all the way to the end. Really nothing needs to be said about this.
You know what, man? I think that's a hell of a way to kick off that EP. That song gets me pretty hyped. We just glazed that song for I don't even know how many minutes already. I just be rehashing the same things, man. There's just so much good to say. Super, super good start to this EP. I give that one a 4.25.
Yeah, this was my second favorite on the EP. I gave it a 4.5. It is an absolute banger to open an album with, for sure.
Man, so this next track, My Severance, I gotta say the first several times I listened to this one, I wasn't like immediately drawn to it, but on a couple more trials, I really started to get it. I think this song, so let me just start off by saying this song immediately does something that I love when they add like some type of sound effect, generally on like a snare beat or sometimes on beat 4. In this case, I believe it's in beat 4. Sounds like someone just getting a danger, you know what I mean? It just really gives a lot of power to the beat, and I think that is pretty awesome, the way they use that here. So, man, I don't know if everybody will agree with me, but after listening to the song several times, it's grown on me so much that I do think the chorus to this hits me a different way than a lot of other current songs, but I really enjoy it. And it's becoming one of my favorite choruses of the entire album, I would say.
I know you described the chorus when we were talking about it as it's relaxed. I think that is kind of the best word to describe it, because I was trying to think of the feeling it gave, and that's probably it. I wasn't the biggest fan of the chorus, probably because it's kind of relaxed, but it does give a different feeling when you're listening to it, though. So it is a little unique. I'll give it that.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good way to put it. It's definitely more chill, more relaxed, just but it still brings like a really big sound. I mentioned it, especially later in the song, we'll talk about it, but like it kind of reminds me of Polaris a little bit, which is one of my favorite bands.
And then I really liked here the extra guitar layer that's added. Just a fun little guitar overlaid over the previous part of that verse to give it a little extra body and whatnot. And then this part after, we get some pretty unique screams, which I really liked a lot.
Yeah, man. The way he's able to, it almost sounds like a question and an answer, you know, back and forth for the first couple lines there. He has that like really high scream and then kind of a lower mid scream, and then he does that for like 2 or 3 lines, and then he kicks it into that effect over the top. Gives a ton of reverb, a bunch of body to it, and it just sounds totally different. And I love the way I love the way that it makes not a single part of that sound like it's stuck around too long, or it's just everything is just used just a tiny bit, but it's like the perfect amount, you know. The less is more effect, I would say.
And then the section right after, everything breaks down into a pretty disgusting breakdown.
That song, no, this combination here is just so disgusting together, though. That he just rips out that nasty ass guitar riff over the top of what's already just music to my ears, man. This song slaps, man. Honestly, I said man like 6 times there. Don't put that in the video.
The transition then out of this putrid smorgasbord of screaming and disgusting guitar into the next section is beautiful. The psychoticness of the guitar in this section is insane to me.
And then can I just point out this chorus here, man? Like, at the end of the song, they introduce you to a totally different vibe when they bring back this chorus, but with the lead guitar over the top, that to me sounds like it was pulled directly off of a Polaris album, man. I really enjoy the end of this, and I kind of wish they did it for all the choruses, but it does give it a really awesome effect when it is only given on the final chorus.
Yeah, then we kind of bring back, I think that's basically the intro of the song, just with some added screams over it. I will say, every time I listen to that song, I do like it a little more.
Yeah, man. I think that one grows on you. I really enjoy, and there's a lot going on there, so it takes a little bit of time to really digest it all. But man, even just right there while we're doing this little session here, in my notes, I am currently changing my ranking of this song. I am upping this up from a 4, which is what I initially had, to a 4.25 because it deserves it, man. Absolute banger.
Dude, I'm only upset because I was going to change my rating after listening to that during this last session, because I had it at a 3.75 and I'm going to give it a 4 now. But now it feels like I'm just copying you instead. I'm doing it because I want to, not because you did it. All right, song number 3, Making Circles. You got any initial thoughts on this one?
I think the song stands out quite a lot. A couple different reasons I'm gonna get into here in a minute. Number one, I think just like early on in the song, the first verse cuts in and it just kind of like really showcases Brian's clean vocals. One of the only times they really do it in this EP in this style, anyways, and it's just crystal clear, which is something you don't hear a lot of in their music. A lot of times there's a lot of reverb or a lot of other effects going on. So to hear it just sound as crystal clear and like as raw as it does, I think it stands out to me, and I really enjoy that. There's also this like somber droning of the guitars that just keeps throughout the distorted parts, and it just contrasts so well with the clean guitars. It just keeps my head banging the entire song, you know what I'm saying?
Making circles in the dark to find we're clouded, we're lost. Is it possible to not be swept into violence? Why is it just so hard to find?
So I really do like that chorus quite a bit. I think it's pretty strong. I think his voice just has a really cool, unique, just really somber and dark tone to it the entire way through. And I think the melody's at least somewhat unique. To me, it stands out amongst an EP that is dominated mostly by screams and heavy vocals.
It is definitely a contrast from a lot of the rest of this album. I did like this post-chorus here. It's pretty simple, but I just think it flows really well out of the chorus, going into the next section. And I did like the second verse. Now you have screaming. The rest of it is instrumentally, it's pretty similar, if not exactly the same as the first verse. But now you get the screams instead of the clean singing.
Yeah, man, honestly, that's one of my favorite things about Currents. Their ability to take screams that just sound so disgusting and nasty, the way they're able to take that and put it with like the prettiest, cleanest sounding guitar in the background and just make it still somehow fit together and sound really good. To me, I think that is what really stands out and kind of what drove me to their sound initially when I first found them.
Yeah, so then we get the second chorus, similar to the first chorus. And then after that, we get the bridge, which is pretty cool. They do a lot of different things here.
Yeah, man, so the layering here is just peak to me. The way they've got clean vocals singing a melody, they've got screams in the background, they have a rhythm guitar playing, and then just this really saucy lead part over the top. This shit's peak, dude.
If we can just believe we have nothing for ourselves, then we can live our lives like one disillusion with above, or we can run inside ourselves, too scared to face the truth. We're slaves to our.
This is my favorite part of the song. This part, kind of pretty much to the end, but you get the so much for the fist of God. And then the remaining lyrics are, now that you're gone, I'm questioning everything. But I'm convinced of this. You were in my way. You were in my way.
So much for the fist of God! everything, but I'm convinced of this. You're in my way. You're in my way.
It is a really well done ending to the song.
Yeah, man, I was just thinking the same thing. I was thinking the way they pull that out there without doing another chorus or something when it kind of sounds like it could. I appreciate that. Kind of leaves you wanting more.
I kind of wish the end of the song was more of like what the rest of the song is like, because I really love the end of the song. But outside of that, this was probably my least favorite song on the EP. I gave it a 3.75, which is still solid. I like this song a lot, but it was my least favorite. Though the very end of it is one of my favorite parts on the album.
Yeah, I would have to agree with just about everything you said there. I also gave this particular track a 3.75. I think the song slaps, goes pretty hard. I think the entire EP to this point has been just an absolute treat, man.
Anyone that's watched the top songs of 2025 that we did already knows how I feel about this song. And then one of my favorite parts of the song, the next section, which is disgusting.
Yeah, I think the punchiness of this track just really comes to its pinnacle when he screams this next part.
And then also with this song, this is another song that's a really great example of the different rhythmic patterns and changes in the types of screams done. This next section kind of shows off the entire range and spectrum. And then we kind of go back into, I don't know if this is the chorus of the song right after this. I don't know if that really is a chorus. The whole song is just 10 out of 10 awesomeness all the way through. So. And this next part's one of my favorites. This is one part of the song that I constantly get stuck in my head, just hearing it over and over. The way he screams, "Lies surround me, they infect my bones." There's just something that's so perfect about it. And then this part following this is one of my favorite parts also of the song, where you get some absolutely ridiculous guitar stuff going on.
In my opinion, man, no part of the song or of this entire album is more epic than the drop coming up here when he says Latin words "et tu, Brute," which translates to roughly "even you," and was famously spoken by Julius Caesar from Shakespeare's famous play, followed by the punchiest kick drum of the entire album. Do you hear the amount of space there? You could move a family of 8 into the space that they just provided you. Like, this part is so sick.
Death is a breaking point. Cannon drives my fight. I plugged it right into the vein. Now you challenge my fight. All of the blade is self-listening.
I do like this last part. They add back in the guitar that you heard earlier over what was just being done.
What's in my back? Now you lie to my face. And you know what the only difference is. You think your season will change, but only winter still remains.
Yeah, man. This is my favorite song on the album. One of my favorite songs of the year. It really is amazing. I love everything about this song. The guitar work's incredible. The vocals are incredible. The drums are incredible. The bass is probably incredible. We don't really ever pay attention to that, but this song is, man, this is good shit, man.
Cancer and Back, it's pretty close to peak Currents, in my opinion. The sporadic lead throughout the whole song is just so satisfying. Just everything else you said along with that. Just amazing song, man. Overall, definitely probably my highest recommendation. I give this one a 4.5.
And I did give it a 4.75. And the final track, Rise and Fall. This one kind of grew on me as I listened to it more. Initially, didn't like it as much. Then I've listened to it more, and I think I like it more than the middle 2 songs that we listened to, My Severance and Making Circles. Definitely not as much as Can't Turn Back or It Only Gets Darker.
So your opinion of this song is on the rise?
I would say yes, it's risen. It has not fallen, however.
Right. Mine could not have fallen further from where it started, but it has only risen. That's a really bad representation of how I feel about this song. Now, I think Rise and Fall is a pretty cool track. I think it's a good way to end the little EP here. I'll be totally transparent. I don't think it's as good as the rest of the album, but I think it's pretty solid. I think it's better than a lot of other songs from other albums, that's for damn sure, because Currents is phenomenal, man. But I don't think it's quite as good as, in my opinion, most of the rest of this little EP.
These silver ties, they cut the ones that belong. The future's
I do really like the flow of the verse, the mix of the screaming with that guitar riff specifically. It's really fun to listen to.
ties, they cut the ones that belong. The future's starting to fail. I command me. Are we enough? Our race is part of the tribe. Nothing feels like it matters when the silence cries.
I liked the chorus here only because it's a little different. It makes me think of a band that's not current. Like, I almost feel like I'm listening to a heavier version of an old Rise Against chorus when I listen to this chorus.
You know what, man? That's actually a funny way to say that, because I think the chorus is what actually brought my opinion down, or held my opinion back on this song just a little bit, because I do like that first verse quite a bit. And the chorus I don't hate, but I think because it is so different, maybe it's kind of like you said on the Volumes review. One of the songs you had said you didn't like it probably because it was so different from what you liked about the rest of the album. And I feel like this chorus to me isn't bad, but it's not exactly what I was looking for when I'm listening to Currents. But then when you talk about Rise Against, it's been a long time since I listened to Rise Against, but his voice actually kind of reminds me of that a little bit. And I could definitely hear what you're saying there, man. That I get it, but But yeah, I mean, it's not bad. Just maybe not my favorite chorus of the album though.
I can't find what's left for me besides another rising fall. It took all that's left to me, and time is still in the way. I need to know how to sense without you. Do we make it up? Do we make it up?
I do want to point out though that I actually really like the second half of the chorus quite a bit. I really like the melody, and I really like the lyrics where he said, "I need to know how this ends without you." I just think that line stands out along with that melody to me as probably the best part vocally of the clean part of the song for sure.
I do like the second verse, kind of changes things up a little bit with the screaming. You get a lot of the song kind of drops out. And you get those kind of demonic screams again.
The way the synth or guitar, I don't know if it's a heavily affected guitar there, but the way it works along with everything else there to create so much space for the vocals to just come in and just shred, do whatever they want to do, and it's just going to sound awesome over the top. I think that is a really cool sound there.
And then at the end of the second chorus, you get this pretty crazy guitar overlaid over what's going on, which I did really enjoy. So we get that section. Then it goes into a total breakdown. Everything just kind of falls away.
It never goes away. We're all just keeping it down. We are equal now.
So the bridge that kicks in, I think it's one of the most epic parts of the song. Especially where he says, "We all know our fate," and the drop that follows that. And I could say this now, or I could say at any other point of the song, but I really enjoy the lead guitar in particular of this track. I do think it's all over the place, and it's really awesome. I wish that I liked the entire song as much as I like that.
We all know our fate. We're every pages of our prophecy. How beside us lies. We all tells us all these stories. Life was all the.
And then you got a little sample of the crazy guitar, but now you're going to have that crazy guitar going on all the way till the end of the song. It is a nice outro to the album.
Definitely, man. It ends with that deafening scream there too. Like it's definitely a solid end. I really enjoy it, just because I don't think it's as good as every other song or whatever. I still think it's a really, really good song, and I think, like I said earlier, it's better than any song on this album that isn't as good as another one is still better than a lot of other songs on a lot of other albums. So none of that is, to me, I'm not trying to disparage any of these tracks. I think this one in particular, though, from me, is going to get a 3.5, but I still think it's a very solid offering from Currents.
For this one, I did give a 3.75 also, because I think it's good. Just not my favorite, but it's not bad by any means.
Yeah, so I think the overall rating here that we have come to after doing a little bit of math, my ranking of this album lands it at a 4.0, brother.
And I gave it a 4.25.
Now, man, with that being said, we'd like to thank you all for stopping by. Thank you for checking out this EP by Currents. Thank you from Currents for putting this out here for us to dissect and check out. We'd like to remind you all to like, comment, subscribe. It helps us out a ton. We want to keep doing this. We enjoy doing this. We hope you enjoy listening to us do this. And one more thing, we'd like to tell you to keep it